You are listening to Living with ADHD and CPTSD, available on Apple Podcasts and other platforms everywhere. Hello everyone, and welcome to part 2 of this week's episode, When You Feel Sick and You Have ADHD and CPTSD. Today I'll be focusing on when you are unwell, but you have to face the world today. Unlike in the first episode when I talked about being sick or feeling unwell, when you were able to sit at home and zone out, dissociate, do as little as possible, order out some food, and so on. But today, for those who have no choice, but still have to go out and face the world and their job or their friends or family, or have to go shopping and feed your family, it's a little different. It's not as simple as just, deciding I'm not going to do this. So, first of all, being honest with yourself and with others is very important. If you pretend to hide your problem or the fact that you're struggling during the day because you're not feeling well, and you're not being honest with your partner, whether it's your wife or your husband, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, or your boss, or your friends, and most importantly, if you're not being honest with yourself, you're going to have a very difficult time during the day. Because if you can't be honest with yourself, you're going to continue to pretend and fake it. And, you're not going to be able to do the things that you need to do properly and get through the day and get home and not have a less likely chance of getting triggered or having your ADHD symptoms really cause a problem. The last thing you want to do when you have to go out and you have to get in your car and drive to work or drive to the store or go and meet up with your friends, or you're dealing with your partner during the day, is having something occur like a car accident, or running into somebody with a shopping cart, or getting into a fight, or, not completing a task or a job at work. And the consequences of any of those things can be, triggering and cause ultimate, things like maybe getting fired or getting reprimanded or having a major fight with your partner and possibly saying something that you will regret at another time. So yeah, but the other thing with being honest is, I'll be pretty straightforward. You do you. You go at your pace, if you're able to, of course. Be aware of your environment. Remember your triggers for those with CPTSD, and remind yourself of ways to cope with your symptoms if they do arise while out in public. You can't sit at home and zone out, because first thing is work. So if you're having a rough day, you're feeling unwell, or you have got a headache, or you didn't get any sleep last night and you don't have a choice and you have to go to work, try to focus on one thing at a time. I realize that some of you do work in an environment where you have multiple tasks at one time. You're going to be talking with a lot of different people. You're going to have interactions with your boss, with clients, with coworkers. You might have meetings that you either are taking part in or that you are going to be in charge of. So if you can focus on one thing at a time, that can definitely make it easier. If your job allows you to, try to limit interactions with people or with outside, being exposed to outside environmental factors like noise, events, people coming to your desk and talking to you about things. And again, like I said, be honest. be honest with your manager or boss or coworkers, and don't rush. If you can take your time and do things properly and get them done, I definitely recommend it. Because if you rush into your work and you are doing a poor job, it reflects poorly on you. It can reflect very poorly on your company, especially if you are a manager. And you're more likely going to make mistakes, especially if you're ADHD, you're having problems with being able to focus, listening to someone like your client or your manager telling you things, which can be very important, especially if it deals with the task that you're currently working on. So if you can try to focus on that and take your time, then it will be easier. Like, I'm not saying it's going to be simple and you won't make mistakes, but if you slow down and you try to focus more on that one thing, you're going to have a much better chance of having success, and you're going to have a less likely chance of getting triggered or having ADHD symptoms arise, obviously when you're not feeling well. If you do have to be social at work, whether it's through a meeting or a group session, like let's say you're doing a task and it involves 2 or 3 coworkers getting together and putting your thoughts into the project, try to slow down, try to minimize the excess talking, focus on the task at hand. Try not to get involved in a lot of excess talking, because as you know, especially if it's a task or a project that nobody really wants to do, then people tend to get off topic. I have a lot of experience with getting off topic. We had, in a place that I was working at before the transfer to the new company, we would have work meetings, and it would be pretty easy for us to get distracted and get way off topic. And a lot of times we wouldn't even get through all the topics and the subjects that were needing to be discussed during the meeting. And when you're feeling fine and you're having a good day, it's easy. But if having the task done and getting this work completed on time and submitted to your manager at the end of the day is important and your main focus or goal, then you need to really try to focus. If you're feeling sick and you've got a bad headache, or you're having a hard time because of you're not being able to get any sleep at the night before, it's going to be very easy to get distracted. And before you know it, 5-10 minutes has passed, and somebody could suddenly go, hey, wait a second, we haven't done anything. Or someone says, we got to get back to work here. And then you can increase the stress that comes with the fact that you've got a time limit. And as we all know, with ADHD, time limits can be very anxious and can cause a lot of increased symptoms. Although, from what I've remember reading, and I'm sure some of you have done this when you've been reading stuff about ADHD online, is when there is a timeline, people with ADHD tend to be very good at focusing on that job, and they start to become hyper-focused. So it's very important to focus on the task at hand. And again, be honest with your coworkers, especially if they are aware that you have ADHD or CPTSD. Don't be afraid to tell them that you're having a rough day. You didn't get any sleep, or you're feeling unwell and you have to come into work. It might be a little easier in the COVID era to stay home and be from work because you're sick. But if you're in a situation where you can't afford to stay home, or you're the manager and you do have to go to work, or something is important and you just can't stay home today, be real. Don't hide it. Don't pretend that you're fine, because the consequences, there's numerous possibilities that could come out of this, and you don't want negative consequences because of it. Okay, so if you have to go and meet up with friends or your family or, your loved ones, and you have to be a social butterfly, then it's going to be a lot harder to listen and to focus on the conversation that you're having, because you're going to be a lot more likely distracted, especially if you're feeling unwell or if you've got that headache. The ability to listen and focus in on the subject or the person that's talking is a lot harder at any point. And for ADHD people, it is already difficult to listen to someone, especially if it's a good half hour or an hour lengthy conversation. It can be incredibly hard. So when you're sick, it's going to be 10 times as difficult. So you really have to try as hard as you can to focus and to listen to what is being said. Even if you tell that person that you're talking to, can we take a break every so often? Maybe we could talk about something else occasionally. Let's go get a drink, like grab a coffee from the store, maybe grab a muffin or that vegan snack if that's what you're into, and just try to, don't put too much into it at once. Try to spread it out. Try to give yourself time to relax, to ground, to take a breath, because that is very important. You don't want to stress yourself out to the point that you could have a major trigger, suffer a flashback, and then the rest of your day could potentially be ruined, or you have to spend most of that time, recovering from that trigger instead of interacting with your friends or your family. So again, tell them that you're feeling rough, tell them that you're not feeling well, and to be patient with you. And hopefully that will drastically improve the ability to have a fun time and not allow the fact that you're not feeling well get in the way of having a successful day. ADHD and CPTSD can be a bitch sometimes, and doing all the things that you can to minimize the potential for a symptom to occur or to be triggered is extremely important for us all. Now, quickly here before I take a break, a lot of people like to use cleaning as a way to focus. So if you are going to go out and interact with people, or you're going to go to your work, or you're going to deal with relationship stuff, or you're going to go shopping for food, one thing you could do is try to do some cleaning around the house, or clean your vehicle, or maybe have a nice hot bath before you go out. And that can be something that could help invigorate you and make you feel a little better and allow you to have time to focus on what you're going to be doing before you go out. That, some people do that and they find it to be very relaxing, and it does really help. Okay, everybody, I'm going to take a break. So when we come back, we'll continue on discussing what we need to do when we don't have a choice and we have to go out into the public. All right, everybody. See you in a bit. Bye. Okay, I am back, and let's continue with this episode. You were listening to Living with ADHD and CPTSD. Today's topic is part 2 of our conversation about when you feel sick and you have ADHD and CPTSD. And today I am focusing on when you are unwell, but you have to face the world. Alrighty, so continuing here, if you are in a relationship, whether you're married or you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, or you're in a serious situation and your partner is aware the fact that you have ADHD and or CPTSD, being unwell, whether you're sick or have a bad headache, you hardly had any sleep that night, like I said before, it can be difficult on your relationship, especially on your partner, because they already are aware of the fact that you have symptoms that can make ADHD and make life harder to deal with. And when you have CPTSD, the likelihood of getting triggered due to outside sources can definitely be easier for you. And it also affects that your relationship. If you're in a relationship that's not exactly the best at the moment, like you're struggling and you do fight on occasion, or maybe you're just starting out and this is the first time that you're feeling sick or you're having a bad headache, and your partner hasn't really experienced you feeling like this, and the fact that you do have the ADHD or the CPTSD, it will be hard. And it's going to be a lot of new experiences for both of you. Very important, first off, is just to be honest with your partner. Tell them how you're feeling. And don't hold back. Don't pretend. Don't keep anything from them. And just set expectations from the beginning of the day. Tell them that, it might be a tough day, to not try and not put too many things on you. Try to help out a little bit more. Try to compromise. Try to make things easier for both of you. I realize that it's different, especially if you have a couple children, or if you maybe have a newborn baby in the house, or and you have pets that you have to take care of. That can definitely make it hard. Because if you're the type of person who does a lot of the cooking, if you do a lot of the decision making, if you're the one that tends to take care of the child or the pets, or and you have chores that you need to do on a daily basis, or on that, if that happens to be the day that you do chores, you can delay the chores by a day. But things like taking care of the baby, feeding your family, taking care of the pets, can be harder to do, especially if you're not feeling very well at all, or you just have no energy. It's going to be very difficult. So what I would definitely suggest, if possible, is to, like I said, at the very beginning, be honest. Ask for help. Tell that person, your husband or your boyfriend or girlfriend or wife, I'm going to need your help today. There are certain things that I know I tend to do during the day, like change the baby's diaper, make dinner, do some shopping. If there's anything that you can do to help me out, to make things easier for the day, I would truly appreciate it. And it would be very lovely if you could do that. And if you guys are in a good place and and you have an understanding of how relationships work and the importance of sharing responsibilities, this is going to be easy. And hopefully the amount of stress will be minimal, and you can avoid having any sort of problem during the day. But on the other hand, if you're in a relationship that maybe isn't the best, and maybe there's a bit of strain, or there's maybe communication isn't the greatest. I know on my own behalf, I am not exactly one that you would call great at communicating on the best of times with my girlfriend. I often don't say the right thing. I get things mixed up. Due to emotional regulation issues, I'm not exactly a very emotional person. I don't express how I'm feeling. I don't understand how she's feeling a lot of times, and it can create a lot of problems. You can have fights, you can have arguments because of that. If your partner isn't very understanding of the fact that you're not feeling well, and there's a possibility that you could get triggered because of something that maybe on a typical day when you're not feeling sick won't occur, they may not be the best at understanding your situation, and it could end up being extremely stressful on you and on your partner, and the likelihood of a trigger is much greater. So again, you need to be honest with your partner. Don't be afraid to talk to them, very beginning of the day, even before you get out of bed, if that is how it works. And just talk to them. Tell them that you're feeling sick. Tell them that you need to try and take it easy. You realize that there are things that have to be done. You can't just sit in bed and do nothing. Try to show them that you are not feeling well. And also try to get them to understand and acknowledge you. Try to have them, express, like, kind of, in a way, repeat back to you what you've said. Have them acknowledge your situation. Have them try to, help out as much as they can. Try to avoid, make things minimal. If you're gonna get help, give them things to do, but be nice about it. Obviously, don't force it, or don't tell them you're going to do this. Don't be bossy. Be diplomatic. Be understanding. If you can do that with them, they can be understanding with you, and your day is going to be a lot easier. I do realize that not all relationships are smooth and easy, and some people, especially if you're in a new beginnings of a relationship, this is going to be new for them, and it's going to be new for you. So you need to be patient, and you probably need to step away for a few minutes at a time and just take some time for yourself to breathe, to relax, and even to ground. Keep yourself balanced. Try to stay present. Try to focus on what is going on, but also focus on yourself. You take care of yourself as much as you can when you're not feeling well. All right. Next here is focusing on your senses. Like, for people who have done this a lot, this is going to be easy. For people who don't really get sick very often, or are new to this world of having ADHD or CPTSD, this is pretty important, because it'll help you cope with being sick and cope with the possibilities that things could happen that you're not expecting or you're not prepared for. So know your condition, feel what is happening to you, and then try to come up with some coping methods. Try to minimize the distractions, put your phone away, right? And ground when you're not socializing or you're doing a task at your job. So if, when you're working and you're doing work and you're writing stuff down, or you're interviewing somebody, or you're talking to your client, or having a meeting with your manager, obviously you can't just stop in the middle and ground and forget about the world. That doesn't look good, and you're going to get in trouble, or you're going to make yourself look bad in front of your client, and we all know possible ramifications with that. So when you do have a break and you're able to step away, go to a place that you are comfortable with. If you want to go outside, go outside. If you want to go into a quiet room, I definitely go into a quiet room. I know there are some places at work where they kind of have like a dark room. You can go there to focus, to maybe have a quick nap, or to, for us, to ground and to refocus our energy into what we're doing and how to cope with being sick. So turn your phone off, put your phone or put it away, maybe leave it at your desk. Make sure you lock it, of course. and then ground. So do the different techniques, like some of the techniques that I talked about in a past episode about grounding. Try to do this, like go into that dark room or go and step outside and grab a coffee or a tea, or like do something that you know will relax you. But just sit there and ground, like do some breathing. Try to focus out anything that's not important. If you're into meditation, you could definitely do that when you have your free time. You know, like especially if you've got a dark room or a quiet room that you can go to at work, that would be perfect. Sit in the chair, or you know, find a mat and sit on the floor and do your meditation. That can be very helpful because it allows you to, and that's a big key here. So if you can do that, I would definitely recommend doing some meditation or some grounding when you're having a break. Okay, well, why don't we have another break here and then we can continue, okay? All right, talk soon. Welcome back, everybody. All right. So as I discussed real quickly before I continue here, make sure you have time to ground when you're having a break. It's very important when you're feeling unwell during work or relationship situations or being social with your friends that you take time for you. Don't push yourself and force yourself to do something when you're not feeling it. But if you have no choice and you still have to do these things, it is important that you take some time for yourself. Have a drink, and I don't mean alcohol, guys. Take a coffee, grab a Coke, have a tea. Just take some time to sit by yourself, to relax, to breathe and focus and reset. And then when you're done, go back into it and try to enjoy the best you can. Simple as that. All right, so the last thing we're going to talk about is shopping. Now, men do some shopping, but this is more to people who, well, I know, I'm not saying that the women are the only ones who go shopping, of course, but in a lot of families, and if you're on your own and you are single, you do have to go shopping. And especially if you've got a family and you've got kids, you can't just stop and pause the world. Your kids have to be fed, and if you don't have food, you have to go out and do some shopping, or you got to go out and buy things that you need for the next day. The world doesn't necessarily stop just because you're sick. So when you go shopping, make sure that you have a list of the items that you need. Don't go in there blind, because you're already going to have a hard time focusing and staying stress-free and, understanding of what you're doing, and not spending hours and hours in the shopping mall rather than going there for 30 minutes and trying to be as efficient and as fast as possible. But at the same time, don't rush. You don't want to go in there fast and moving around trying to get things done as soon as you can, because you're going to make mistakes. But we'll discuss that later. So make sure you've got your list. Create reminders to help you with the important tasks. So if you have multiple things you have to do, multiple places you have to go, make sure you create those reminders to tell you that you've got to get these things done in this order, or go to these locations. You got to go to 3 or 4 different locations. Make sure you remind yourself with external reminders, whether it's a Post-it note or your phone giving you reminders. Make sure you do that. That is really going to help you, because when you're feeling unwell and you've got that massive headache, there's a good odds that you're not going to remember everything, and that you're going to have working memory issues. You might get stressed out much easier, and at the same time, there's a good chance you could get triggered. And we definitely do not want that when you're in the middle of trying to shop and get food for your family or food for yourself, or if you need to buy some new clothing, or you have to go get that important item for the house because it broke. If you do happen to have issues with large crowds of people, then what I would recommend, and I think this is really helpful and would work a lot, is try to use the five senses grounding tool. If you remember, I discussed that in a couple different episodes about doing the grounding tools for smell, for sight, for sound, for touch. And if you've got a coffee, then use your tasting senses for grounding. So do that before you begin and try to maintain that grounded state. Don't go into any situation, especially a grocery store where we know there's a lot of people. Try to keep yourself present. Try to stay grounded when you walk into the store. If you do it 10 minutes in, it's going to be very difficult because you obviously need to be able to focus on it. And it's going to be a lot harder when you're doing that, when it's noisy and when there's lots of people around. And people could be bumping into you, and especially if you've got your kids screaming at you, saying, I want that, and they're distracting you. Do it before you go in. Stay in your car, turn it off, make sure the radio's off, and breathe and focus, do your grounding, and make sure you're ready to go. And then when you are ready to go, then you can get out of the car, get things going, get into the store, and do your shopping. Make sure you ground before you go in. Now, here's, like I said, do not rush when you're doing these things. Try to remind yourself, it's not important to finish quickly. Do it on your time. Go at your speed. You don't want to do something fast just because you've got a timeline, or you got to get dinner done by 6 o'clock for the husband and for the kids, or if you're on a break from work and you got to do some quick shopping. Don't overwhelm yourself. Do it at your speed. You're gonna likely forget things when you're trying to rush and you're trying to get things done as fast as possible because you've only got so much time. You could get triggered. You could have your ADHD symptoms appear, and you completely forget that you're doing something, or you get distracted by a magazine at the store, and so you stand there and you end up reading it for 5 minutes before all of a sudden you realize, oh, right, I'm shopping. I totally forgot. So, take your time, pace yourself, don't go fast. Make sure that everything that you have on your list is done. Don't allow things like, if you see somebody don't get distracted by talking to them for half of your shopping trip. Don't get taken in by a magazine that's sitting on the rack. Do what you need to do. Get what you have to get done on time, but don't rush. Don't try and get it done as soon as you can. We want to avoid forgetting stuff. We want to avoid the stress, because imagine if you go into the store and one of the items that you need is toilet paper. Now you're rushing and you're going through all these things. You're getting all the different foods. You get 30 different items, and your bill's like $120 or $200 for some of you that have a couple kids. And then you get home and all of a sudden you go, oh no, I forgot the toilet paper. And then, so first off, you start getting stressed out. You start feeling some anxiety, and you realize, and you get down on yourself. You're saying, oh, I'm so stupid. How could I have possibly forgotten that toilet paper? And you're already feeling sick, or you're unwell. You got that headache. And if you are suffering from CPTSD, you could very well get triggered. And then the rest of the day is just shot, because you're not going to feel like going back to the store. You've already had to deal with getting dressed and getting the kids ready and trying to focus and ground yourself if you did that. And now you got to go back out and get it. You can't just leave it for the next day. You've got kids and a husband and yourself that are going to need that toilet paper, and you got to go back out now. And especially if it's wintertime, like if you're in a climate that has snow and cold, and you got to go start your car again, and you got to wipe off the snow again off the windshield. It's not a simple thing as just jumping into the car, going down the street and grabbing the toilet paper. It takes time to get ready and to go out again. And you've got added stress now onto your day. You might potentially snap at something. It's just unnecessary, and your ADHD is already on a high alert, and your child parts are on high alert. It's best if you just don't rush through things. Try to take care of yourself. Now, I'm just going to wrap up here. When you're just feeling unwell, you do have two choices. You can take the day off. You can sit at home and do as little as possible. If you don't have a choice and you have to go to work, or you do have an appointment that you must attend or take in, and especially if you have a family and you are the one who tends to do the cooking, or maybe you do the shopping, or you're in a relationship and you just keep coping with your issues. So take your time. Take care of yourself first. If you need an extra few minutes in the morning to have a coffee, have that coffee. Relax. Do some reading. Maybe put a quick episode. Turn on YouTube and maybe find some funny episodes or clips or some cat videos if you like cats. Do something that makes you feel good, that makes you feel relaxed. Don't get up and just rush into it. Like, that's the last thing you want to do. Relax, enjoy the morning, try to recover, ground, make yourself feel as good as you can. Like, I realize that it's difficult sometimes. You just can't always do it. But take that time for yourself. Do what's best for you. And then, time it, make a reminder, make sure that, especially for ADHD people, don't just sit there and allow yourself to drift off. It is important that you do get to work on time, or that you do get your chores, your tasks done on time, and take care of your kids, or take care of the chores that you need to do for the day. But relax and allow yourself to focus in and to just feel what you're feeling. Be able to have a better chance at facing the day and not allowing yourself to get triggered or have ADHD symptoms basically take over your day and make things just worse. Because when you get home at the end of the day, you may have to make a dinner after work. Maybe your partner is a loving, caring, partner, and will tell to you, all right, you know what, sweetie, go sit on your chair. I'll make you a coffee. I'll make you a nice drink. I will do the dinner. I'll take care of things. You just go and have a nice time. Turn on a movie or a TV show and relax. But not everybody is that lucky. Some of us do have to do everything. And even when we're not feeling well, the world doesn't stop for us. Just remember that you do have support, and there are people out there in your life that will help you. Friends, family, nobody, they're not going to say no to you. If they're working or they're extremely busy, there is that possibility that they might not be able to come and help. But if many of us have friends, many of us have family members or loved ones that would be more than willing and happy to come and help you. Give them a call, message them, invite them over for pizza or a movie and just say, I need some help. I'm not feeling really good. I've got a really bad headache. I need some help. They'd be more than happy to come over. Give them a call. They'll come over and they'll help you make dinner, or they'll help you clean up, or they'll help babysit your kids for you. And entertain, and they'll let you relax. It's very helpful, and it's really something that will make you feel much better, and you'll be closer with your with your friends or with your family. And if your wife or husband or your girlfriend, boyfriend is someone who's going to be doing that for you, it makes you feel special, and it makes you feel cared for, and you get that opportunity to relax at the end of the day. And unfortunately, if you're not able to, just remember that this is only temporary. This too shall pass, and we will be better. But for the most part, we're not alone, guys and gals. Things will be okay. Do the grounding. Have a break. Take time for yourself. Make sure you breathe. Take time in the morning before you go out to try and relax. Do the things that are important. But most of all, take care of yourself. And be honest with those people that you're going to be interacting with today or during that time that you're out there. Don't hide the fact that you're feeling unwell and that your ADHD or CPTSD are going to be much more prone to coming up. Tell people, let them know. It'll help, I assure you. All right, everybody, that's this week's episodes. I hope you enjoyed it. I put a lot of thought and effort into this. If you have any comments or suggestions, especially about this episode, please let me know. Go to my website for Living with ADHD, www.livingwithadhdandcptsd.ca, and give me a ring. Let me know what you think. I'd be very happy to hear from everybody. If you want to let me know what you thought. Well, that's it. I've got some interesting ideas coming up for some episodes in the next few weeks, and they should be really good. I'm going to start getting into more specific situations, both with ADHD and CPTSD. I am still looking at doing some interviews with some professionals and some other people who have experience with ADHD and CPTSD. There are lots of links out there on Twitter, on YouTube. If you Google, there's lots of information out there that can assist you. I want to help everybody, and I know it's tough out there. I have a lot of hard times. Day after day, there are things that occur that you just don't expect, and we do need to have a good way of coping with these unexpected problems. Not everybody is fortunate to have people in their lives that understand what's going on, and we all do need help. So the internet has a ton of stuff out there, people. Take a look, see what you think. Okay, that's it for this week. All right, everybody. Talk to you later. Bye.